tonight. And we thank you, first of all, for the great gift that you've given to us of your Son, Jesus Christ. And Father, we thank you for a new year, a new beginning. And we pray, Lord, that as we begin the new year here, that we might use it for the glory of God and for the betterment of mankind. Father, we thank you even for the command in the Bible to give thanks for our governments and to use them so that we can live civilly and justly, and that we can really pursue those goals that we have as families and individuals. So, Father, we pray for wisdom for the council, that you will bless them in their decision making, that you will bless them for their time and their effort that they put into this community. Again, Father, we give you thanks for all you've given to us, the blessings for us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Next, please all rise and join us in the saying of the Pledge of Allegiance to the American flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to welcome everybody to the first meeting of 2019 of your Bel Aire City Council, to all of those in the audience tonight and all of those out in Radio Land for that. And we're going to start tonight's meeting off with a proclamation. January 21st is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So I'm happy to read this proclamation. Except for it's like in 4-point font here. All right, whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. devoted his life to advancing equality, social justice, and opportunity for all, and challenged all Americans to participate in the never-ending work of building a more perfect union. Whereas Dr. King's teachings can continue to guide and inspire us to address challenges in our communities. And whereas the King Holiday and Service Act, enacted in 1994, designated the King Holiday as a national day of volunteer service and charged the Cooperation for National and Community Service with leading this effort. And whereas since 1994, millions of Americans have been inspired by the life and work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to serve their neighbors and communities on the King Holiday. And whereas serving on the King Holiday is an appropriate way to honor Dr. King, meet local and national needs, bring our citizens together, and strengthen our communities and nation. And whereas the King Day of Service is the only federal holiday commemorated as a national day of service and offers an opportunity for Americans to give back to their communities on the holiday and make an ongoing commitment to service throughout the year. And whereas King Day of Service projects are being organized by a wide range of nonprofit and community organizations, educational institutions, public agencies, private businesses, and other organizations across the nation. And whereas each of us can and must contribute to making our communities better with increased opportunity for all of our citizens. And whereas citizens of Bel Aire have the opportunity to participate in events throughout our city on the King Day of Service, January 21st, 2019, as well as create and implement community service projects where they identify the needy. Now, therefore, I, David Austin, Mayor of Bel Aire, Kansas, proclaim the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday as Day of Service in Bel Aire, and do hereby call upon the people of Bel Aire to pay tribute to the life and works of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Sign that. We'll pass that down to the city clerk. And then the first thing to come before council this evening is the consent agenda that contains only the minutes of the December 18th City Council meeting.
Mr. Mayor,
yes.
There's one minor correction in the minutes of the December 18th council meeting. Mr. Tan's last name is T-A-N-N with 2 N's.
Okay.
Where is that?
Thank you for. This is the WAMPO.
Yeah, he was presented from WAMPO.
Yeah.
Okay. Business card or somebody if you need it. But.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll get that corrected. Thank you. Any other questions or comments about the consent agenda? None. I would accept a motion to approve.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
I motion to approve the consent agenda as amended and authorize the mayor to sign.
Second.
We have first and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, and next is discussion and approval of appropriations ordinance. This meeting totals $311,681.68. Do want to point out that $90,000 of that is in special assessments that were paid as debt payments for CCUA water and sewer. And of course, then the rest goes to the day-to-day operations of running our city.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I motion to approve the appropriations ordinance 19-01.
Second.
First and second, any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, city requested appearances. This is actually an appearance that I requested. We are honored tonight to have County Commissioner-elect Pete Meitzner with us, and I'm going to ask him to join me over here at the podium. I promised, he said he's got stuff on tonight, so we'll have you out here by 7:20. So by that clock, I've got about 15 minutes, right? I can hold you here. How you doing, man? Pretty good. Good to see you. Well, I appreciate you coming. Oh, I will turn on the microphone. There we go. Okay.
Okay. You got to say all that again.
We'll do that. Okay. So he said I should go on for 15 minutes is what he was saying, but no. It's an honor to have, like I said, Sedgwick County Commissioner-elect Pete Meitzner here with us. At our last meeting, we honored outgoing County Commissioner Dave Unruh, who spearheaded a number of projects that really benefited the entire community here in Bel Aire. Pete Meitzner was elected to the Sedgwick County Board of Commissioners last November. He's going to take his seat later this month. And, of course, Commissioner Meitzner's district includes basically most of the city of Bel Aire, up to what about the Woodlawn, and then it
Kind of
yeah, it looks like Dr. Seuss kind of wrote some some boundary lines there, but quite a bit of Bel Aire is included in that. So I'd like to welcome Commissioner Meitzner to Bel Aire and officially present him with the key to the city.
Really?
Yes.
I haven't done anything.
That's why we're doing it now.
Okay.
You know, just
Do I have to give it back?
we'll talk about that later. But
Wow.
But we have always had a great relationship with the Sedgwick County Commission, and I don't see that changing one bit with you on board. I know you had a couple events already in Bel Aire. You were tweeting and Facebooking all about through some of our Bel Aire events, and had another event out here that was held with some other key stakeholders. And we just want to let you know that you are welcome here anytime to give reports, talk to us, or ask questions. And we look forward to that relationship continuing with the Board of County Commissioners. And I thank you for being here tonight.
Absolutely.
So if you want to say anything, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you. This is my first event as a county commission person that's not sworn in yet. I was teasing the Sedgwick County Commission because they said the swearing in they do is on a Sunday, this Sunday the 13th at 2 in the afternoon. And so as of last week, I said, if I got Chiefs tickets, I'll just kind of Facebook in my swearing in because I'm going to the Chiefs. But the Chiefs play Saturday, so we're good. We're good.
It worked out.
But anyway, thank you. I know a few of you, Jeff. Good to see you, Jim. I've met you over the time, and I know your city manager. And David, I can't thank you enough for the support that in our relationship that we've developed. I've been in the Wichita City Council for 7 years, so it gives me I think a nice perspective of what we do as city governments. And Bel Aire is a growing place. It's a fun place. I live in Savannah, so I live kind of down the street off 143rd. So I'm not sure. I'm ready to be a county commissioner. Dave Unruh and I have been friends for a long, long time. He's, as you know, 16 years. He's always been a supporter of I'm sorry if I'm using first names.
You go right ahead.
I just, because I'm more of a first name person, so if you're offended by that, council member. But anyway, I don't know what I don't know, and I'm ready to help. And I think I fall in the group. I think you've seen in the last 5 years, at least at the city of Wichita, that we kind of, under Mayor Longwell and for sure under me, was more of a regional approach. Yes. And as a county commissioner, what a great way to keep that regional approach. I'm a big fan of that. When a little company or a big company wanted to move and relocate or move in to the region, if Wichita didn't work, but Bel Aire worked better, or even Andover or whatever worked better, Mays, we were like, let's go. Because, as you know, citizens live where they live. If a company here moves down the street into the borders, well, your citizens still live here, and church here, and friends here. So it's kind of fun that I think all of our local governments are taking this regional approach. And I'm all for that. Spirits in it, man, it's going good for all of us. Textron is not getting a lot of the publicity, but there are only a couple thousand people behind Spirit. And so we're kind of back into a solid zone. McConnell, we were worried 5 years ago, thanks to Mike Pompeo and others, secured 40 years of the tanker. Cargill being here for forever, and then Coke continues to grow. So I think we got good bones in our region, and our numbers don't show it all the way yet, but it's really good. I think we need to keep focusing on the big thing is keeping and attracting the young talent, and I think it's resonating. But we're doing some good things to do that, and I think you guys are a big part of that. I'm willing to take questions, but I'm so willing to be able to be here whenever you guys need me to if we've got little issues, big issues, I'm ready to serve. So
wonderful. Well, again, thank you so much for being here. And we look forward to the continued relationship and the entire area growing. And
this is so good. I don't have any keys to any city, so you're my first key.
And since you haven't been sworn in yet, there's no ethics. There's no. Then we also have some other stuff and some history of who we are to learn more. And
that's fantastic.
Yeah, Bel Aire actually celebrates its 40th anniversary next year.
Yeah, when I was sitting there, 1980 is when we were incorporated?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So and that young lady up there, back there 40-some years ago, was walking door to door with some of the petitions to see that we were incorporated. So a lot of rich history here and a lot of love for this community.
All right. Congratulations, babe. What were you, 12 years old when you did that?
Oh, yeah, thank you. No, I already had 2 kids.
Oh, you did. Good. No, that's really good. Well, it's an honor. Thank you for this. And good luck for everything, and let us know. You've got good relationships, I think, with the county. We'll have a new manager, but it likely will be...
we like him.
Our existing Tom's, yes. Tom, he's
Stoltz?
Filling in, Tom Stoltz.
Yeah.
It seems to be, at least in the interim for a while. I'll get in there and we'll see. So you get along with Tom, I think that's good. So anyway, so hope to bring some respect and reputation, positive, back to the Sedgwick County government. We need to be off the radar screen and just be supportive of you all, and hopefully we can do that.
All right.
Okay?
All right.
Thank you all very much.
And go Chiefs.
All right, yes, sir. Go Chiefs. And go Shockers in and out.
Yeah. This time I'll open it up to citizens' concerns if there's anyone wishing to address council about an agenda item this evening. Seeing none, we're going to move on to reports, and we'll start with Councilmember Hodges.
I actually don't have a report. It's been a great holiday season, and hopefully everybody stayed safe.
Councilmember Benaj?
I have no reports with this day, Mayor. Mr. Mayor.
On December the 20th, I sat in for Ken Lee at the CCUA meeting, and I'll let Jeff usually has a very, very good report on that, so I'll leave it at that. And then last Tuesday, I went to breakfast with the senior group at Cracker Barrel, and they all had a very good time at the breakfast, and they even bought my breakfast. So, and that's all I have now.
All right. Somebody else off?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So as Councilwoman Martine mentioned, at the CCUA, that's the Chisholm Creek Utility Authority meeting on December 20th, we had a couple of agenda items come before us. We continue to discuss and evaluate the wastewater treatment plant overhaul proposal that's before us. We decided to have the technical advisory committee continue to review that. There were just a few concerns about what we initially saw in terms of commitments and obligations and things of kind of I guess details of what we would be obligated to as an organization and all that. So we're taking it very slow and just trying to be very thorough in our evaluation of where we stand in terms of status at the plant, but then also what the short and long-term goals are and implications for the overhaul that eventually will be coming before us in terms of making a decision about that. We went forward with initiating an audit engagement. We looked at creating an FSA, that's a flexible spending account for the employees at the CCUA. That's just a part of the organization trying to retain good employees, and it's kind of a small benefit in the swirl of health insurance and all the chaos that a lot of us encounter in that aspect of our lives in today's climate. It was something that the CCUA committee felt that we wanted to add some kind of small additional benefit to help employees of the CCUA. So we got the ball rolling on that. And then finally, we looked at increasing the computer security, or the computer system security for CCUA. Obviously, all the utilities that supply our water and sewer and electricity and all the things that we need to live our lives and wake up and take a hot shower in the morning and all that stuff, have our refrigerators working. The systems that are in place are run by computers, and they are continually vulnerable to fraud and physical and electronic attack and all of that. And historically, the CCUA's computer systems have not been very robust. There hasn't been a great deal of security breaches or anything like that, but it has been seen by the manager there as a vulnerability. So we did approve a new security system for the computer systems there. So that was a good decision. I think in today's environment, that's something that we're probably a little bit behind on getting up to speed on, but so that's going. So things are moving along there in a positive direction. That's my report, Mr. Mayor.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Again, I just want to wish everybody a happy new year. We had a very good Christmas and very good and busy end of the year here. As Councilmember Elsoff just talked about, we had a CCUA meeting with a lot of good discussion there. Coming up in 2019, as I mentioned in the when we were welcoming our new county commissioner, mentioned that next year is Bel Aire's 40th birthday. And that's something that I want us to celebrate, and we should be proud of that. We need to be making a big deal of that. And in 2019, I look forward to continuing the conversations that we've had up here, and as we continue to shape the vision and continue to move this city forward. We spent a lot of time talking about it, and I think I can say with a lot of clarity here, hearing loud and clear that are pretty much our three main goals are to continue to look at ways we can make road improvements, continue to look at ways to make us financially solvent. I mean, we've made great strides and we're in great shape for that, but to continue that and to also look at prudent investments for our future. And again, we can look at that 2020, 40 years. So looking forward to that in the new year. Also excited about the new paint downstairs. It looks really nice, fresh, updated. City Hall is getting some updates that was really neat to see. Again, like I said, a busy last couple of weeks of the year down there. A couple of things coming up. I know January 12th is the SCAC meeting where I think the Vice President Academic Affairs from Wichita State is going to be speaking. So I look forward to attending that. Then January 19th, Councilmember Elsoff was talking about the CCUA. Some of us will be able to take a in-depth tour of that facility. Then we're looking at doing something, is it in April, possibly doing more of a public. And that's something I would encourage you guys to attend for that. And I'll bring more, or Councilmember Elsoff, one of us, bring more details to you as that becomes available. And I recently learned that the first Wednesday of February, that's when our Bel Aire Chamber meets, and they're going to meet at the brand new Bel Aire Recovery Center out there. So looking forward to seeing that new facility and seeing what all they have to offer. It's very exciting to have them on board and here part of our community. With that, that is the end of my report. We'll move to our city attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The city clerk's office has sent out business license renewal notices, and this is an important part of the city's regulation for public health, safety, and welfare. It's important because it allows the city to provide adequate firefighting support for businesses, to identify special law enforcement scenarios, including anticipating any business-related increase in lighting, noise, odor, traffic, or pedestrian traffic as well, within any area that may propose special law enforcement scenarios. Anyone operating a business in Bel Aire should be aware of this requirement to renew, and an overwhelming majority of licenses are scheduled to expire in January. That makes it a little easier. The clerk has aligned everything so that way most licenses will expire by the end of the month, and so business owners should anticipate taking care of that this month. And finally, any questions related to that can be addressed to the city clerk. And that's all I have.
Okay. Turn to our city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have any formal report. I was able to take a few days off for the holidays and enjoyed that. Do want to wish everyone a happy new year. We had a good 2018. You'll be hearing some more reports of how things turned out from different department heads, but I will tell you that we were almost hit 100 new housing units this year. I think it was around 98 is what we came in as. So I think that's probably the 5th year in a row that we've been very close at either at 100 or close to 100 new homes. So that's very good for the city as we grow. As far as the year-end of budget, our expenditures came in under what we had budgeted, and our revenues came in over what we had budgeted. So that's always a good thing. Helps us with carryovers and things like that. We're always concerned as we get to the end of the year, what we budgeted on a carryover, is that going to be there? And it was. So you'll be seeing financial reports and things like that. But those were two very positive things for 2018, and I'm looking forward to a good 2019. So thank you, Mayor.
Okay. So we'll move now to ordinances, resolutions, and final actions. This is a relatively short agenda this evening. There's actually 3 appointments that pretty much makes up tonight's agenda. The first thing to come before council is electing a council president. City code requires that we have a council president and that he or she be elected annually from the city council members up here. Basically the role of the council president is to fill in for me when I'm not able to be here for meetings. I think that's happened once in the last 4 years, and because Councilmember Martin got to do it that time. She remembers that a couple of years ago. And also then fills in at events if I'm unable to be there and they need an official whatever. So Councilmember Justin Smith has served in the previous year. Spoke with him yesterday. He said he would be willing to serve again if that is the will of the council. But certainly I would accept any nominations or any volunteers if there are any others.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
I'd like to nominate Jeff Paz.
Okay. We have a nomination for...
Well, I guess elect.
For Councilmember Hawes. I guess my first question, is that a role you're willing to take on? Okay. So is that an official nomination then?
Yes.
Is there a second?
A second.
Okay. So we have a first and a second to name Councilmember Jeff Hawes as our 2019 council president. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right. Welcome aboard. So, and I want to thank Councilmember Smith. I think he served really, really well, especially the new council member as president. Really enjoyed. Well, we're going to continue to work together. We've been working together. It's not like he's going anywhere with that, but certainly do appreciate the fact that he did that, and appreciate Councilmember Haas' willingness to accept that role. I'll give you my schedule tomorrow.
It's always good to pass it around.
Yeah, it is. It is. And that is something we need to kind of pass it around every year. So try to do that. Okay. I think the only time we didn't, in my recent memory, was when the state forced us to change the election time, so there was a lot of overlapping. But now we're on roll with that. Okay. I'm going to move on to item B, which is considering the reappointment of Jeff Elsoff to the CCUA board. This is for a 2-year term. Councilmember Elsoff was appointed to serve out Peggy O'Donnell's term on the CCUA board, actually before he even was an official council member. I think were you elected at that time but hadn't been appointed or seated?
I don't recall.
Anyway, but so that
close.
term, that term expires this month. I will tell you, going to the CCUA meetings, Councilmember Elsoff brings a lot to those meetings, to the discussion, to the questions. His knowledge and background in engineering and his methodical thinking has served us quite well in the CCUA board. Like I said, that term expires this month. I would recommend that we continue, A, if you're willing, and B, if unless there's others wanting to jump at this.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I move to reappoint Jeff Elsoff to the CCUA board.
I'll second.
First and second. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and fellow council members.
I don't think any of us could have a detailed report like you do.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
Right.
I'm happy to continue.
All right, item C, our final item for this evening, is voting delegates to the Kansas Rural Water Association 2019 annual meeting. Bel Aire is a member of the Kansas Rural Water Association. At the annual conference, this takes place in March, there will be a meeting of the membership. The city, our city receives one vote, and a voting delegate needs to be appointed since we get that vote. Our Public Works Director, Ann Stevens, attends and would be a good option for a voting delegate. Our Assistant Public Works Director, Dave Leiker, I know also attends and would be a good alternate. And that would certainly be my recommendation for this action this evening.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Ann Stevens as voting delegate and Dave Leiker as the alternate voting delegate to the 2019 KRWA annual meeting and membership.
Second.
First and second. Are there any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Okay, future issues. We do have on the calendar, again, these are not set in stone, but we do have a workshop, would fall on the 8th this month. However, since we have just come through the holidays and January is a long month, we could also hold the workshop on the 22nd. And I know Councilmember Hawes could have a conflict on the 8th with his starting his new job and training out of town.
The 22nd is going to be a conflict for me.
Okay.
But I could do the following week, or I think it was suggested earlier, maybe the 17th, if that works for others too. I mean, want to make sure that it works for folks.
What's pressing that we need a workshop this month? Sorry, I didn't ask to speak.
That's okay. The issue, I know we talked about a couple of issues that I guess aren't pressing, but that we want to talk about. But I would imagine that this one would be LKM, League of Kansas Municipalities, sends out their wish list, is that what I should call it, their priorities, and then we need to decide as a governing body if we are going to fully support that or not. And that, I would think the workshop, we could do it in a council meeting as well, but I think the workshop would be a good point for that. And I know we also have there is the LKM is hosting a day at the Capitol. I don't know if anyone's planning to attend or not.
The 23rd,
yeah.
And I am planning on being there.
You will be there, okay.
Yeah.
So
it would be good to know what the feel of the council is on agenda items. So.
Yeah, so I think we talked about it actually last year, but LKN, in the past, the council has adopted the League of Kansas Municipalities legislative platform, which has been voted on at the league conference. But there may be some things that council wants to consider supporting or not supporting that's not on there. So I have been working on putting together something from us as staff that we believe are the important items, as well as the league issues for this legislative season, which will start in January, the end of the month. I think they're sworn in. So anyway, that would be one that the council could adopt, the legislative platform. And what that does is that allows any of you that would be meeting with legislatures would have the policy that's agreed upon by the council as a whole. Or if issues came up that Jackie and I saw that were, you were supporting or against, then we could work on getting letters put together, have the mayor sign. And again, that would have been adopted by you all. So we would be following up on those. And since you only meet twice a month, when the legislature has things going every day during the legislative season, we can quickly get out letters if we know what you're supporting or opposing. And then the other thing is, I just was notified this week that Law Kingdon, who was doing the work on the gathering place, the public input and stuff that they were receiving on that, they've got all that put together, so they'd like to come and present that to council as well, what the citizens were looking for in a gathering place. And you remember at the open house, they had some different options and things like that. So those would be two things that would be on a workshop.
And there was a survey too.
Yes, and the survey results, they have those tallied as well. So yeah, they'd like to present those.
Do we have any idea when we're going to hear back from the engineering firm on the Woodlawn project?
No, we were hoping that we would get it in January, but it looks like it's going to be February. They are still working on some utility issues with Ann as far as whether or not we need to replace some water and sewer mains, or whether we can do some of those lining. I think we had talked about that, or Ann had mentioned that, some lining of some sewer mains. We could do that in this situation. It would save on the cost of the project, because those costs are going to come out of, or the city's going to have to pay 100% of those. So utility costs we would pay, not the road, actual road construction will be shared. 20% us, 80% WAMPO. So she's still working on those issues to determine what those costs are going to be, and that's going to factor into the total project cost. So I think that's why it's slowed up a little bit, is because they're working on those water sewer mains, that how they're going to replace or rehab those.
So, in other words, Ann's trying to save us money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And and that factors into the whether it's $4 million, $4.2 million, $3.5 million, whatever. And so, because she told me right before the holidays they were working on that, because she thinks there's an option that we could, I think it was the sewer main is large enough, but it's old, and rather than replace it, they've got those linings they could put in. That would save a couple $100,000, but would meet our needs and not have to replace the line. So
this is storm sewer, is that right? Or is it
sanitary sewer?
Sanitary sewer.
Yeah, because there's ditches now to be all new stormwater pipes
that's
and
right.
stuff.
Right.
So. So I think that's the holdup. If it wasn't for that, I think we would have had it this month.
Okay. So we've heard so we've heard about a conflict on the 8th and one on the 22nd. Those are Tuesdays. Of course, we have our council meeting on the 15th. I agree with Councilmember Benage. We should definitely meet before the 23rd. So I'm looking at the next day. Would Wednesday the 9th or Wednesday the 16th work?
Wednesdays, that's why I suggested Thursday the 17th,
Okay.
just because I know Wednesdays sometimes people have conflicts with church and and different obligations there, and that's
I'm out of
it seems
town
like
on the
Thursdays work better.
Okay.
17th is what I would be in favor of.
Okay. I'm hearing the 17th from two of you. How about the...
I'm good with it.
Okay. Let's go ahead and schedule that for January 17th, and we can keep that at 6:30. And that way, if we'll have the agenda ready at our meeting on the 15th. If there's any additional items that you want to add, we could still probably do that at that time. So.
Yeah, actually, I'll try to get it out next week, Monday or Tuesday, so you'll have time to read through the legislation, because there's quite a few of them.
Right.
And that way you can think through if there's things in there that you're supporting that they are not, or whatever, but to give you time to read through that.
Mr. Mayor, I did have one addition. We had talked about the emergency management issue and Chief Atterbury's plan. There was a document that we had talked about. I don't recall exactly the details. We were going to perhaps review the document or contribute to it. I don't remember what the specifics were, but that was just another item that we had talked about. Maybe it's not for the January meeting, but workshop
that
agenda.
and then speed limits. And I think he had mentioned he needed to have a couple months to really kind of go through all that. So that's certainly something we could look at for the February or maybe even March.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I do have a couple items I'd like to throw out there, maybe either this month or next as well. I have been looking into the possibility of doing a billboard sign along 135 to advertise Bel Aire. And just want to kick around some ideas and throw some numbers out there. I don't have final numbers. I just got some rough ideas and stuff. But anyway, just some stuff. And I can forward some things to you, Ty, that I've collected on that. Also, I'd like to see, and I don't know if she can be ready for it in time, but I'd like to see what Ann's proposing on street improvements for 2019.
Okay.
I think we always like to see that, not just myself.
And also, Councilmember Benard, with the billboard, I was going to mention in February, I'd really like to talk to us about marketing. So maybe that would be very topical at that time.
Yeah, that's really what I'm looking at is marketing. Yes, and so there's some windows there, but I don't think they're set in stone. But, yeah.
So how many items do we have on the 17th?
2.
Okay.
Yeah, the LKM association, yeah, we can go through that. Okay. And look at, yeah, and I would just ask that when we look at the LKM thing, we got to think what's best for our city, and let's fight for it. So, with that. Anything else come before council this evening? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
First and second. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned at 7:41.